I call the honourable member Chris Okenvold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's a pleasure to stand and to speak on the Members of Parliament Remuneration and Services Bill debate notes, and to follow on from the beg your pardon, with debate notes, and it's a pleasure to follow on from such a well-prepared speech as given by the Attorney-General and the perhaps more spontaneous speech given by Mr. Mallard, who might have been a little assisted had he had some notes. Nonetheless, he could have had debate notes, yes, could have been useful. But I do actually concur with the point that he made, that the work done by the Select Committee should not be taken lightly, or indeed should not be diluted by subsequent decisions to bring forth amendments to make changes. There was ample opportunity at the committee level to get things into order. Mr. Mallard did say he felt that the speech was... in his speech, he said that he felt the bill was betwixt and between rather than a definite thing. Well, I guess, to my mind, I think this is a significant step, though, in the government's commitment to having ministers' and MPs' entitlements determined in a transparent, independent, non-partisan manner. Pardon me? Well, yes, a bit between where it needs to be. If we look at where it could be, there's a public perception, which was certainly voiced to members of the committee and came through fairly clearly, and the public perception probably varies between thinking that we decided all ourselves for our own benefit, and perhaps that might be considered to have been the case in the past, but also there's another perception that thinks that all MP pay and conditions should be subordinated to a higher authority and not left to any discretion of anyone in this particular organisation. And that's when we come, Mr. Speaker, to the point about Parliament being sovereign in the management of its own affairs and being the master of its own destiny. And really, if you think it through, that's a very significant part of New Zealand's history and development. This bill, drawn from the Law Commission report, called for reform, and these were addressed by these were addressed by the Select Committee. The Select Committee, to me, is one of the best bits, I think, of the process that we have in this Parliament. It's a very significant process and a very important part. It interfaces with the public, and also it's through having the Select Committee process that we can have a single House structure to Parliament without having, because we do have that recourse to consideration of views. We received the submissions, and the committee concentrates on consulting and considering fairly widely from official reports, from expressed views that come to it. And I think that was particularly the case with this bill, so that it would be unreasonable for any potential critic to say that the bill was changed. Well, that's what the bill is actually considered for, so that there aren't unforeseen circumstances, so that it will have the effect that it was designed to give, and so that it won't be a misfit with practice. And this committee, I must say, the Government Admin Committee, it's a balanced committee. No one particular party has... It is well chaired, actually, particularly on this bill, and it's well discussed. And well, I'll go further. It was well chaired by the Honourable Ruth Dyson, who wasn't always there, of course, but some of us had to fill in. And it also... Indeed. And it also, though, was a bill that caused a lot of consideration and was a very concentrated amount of examination. And I'd like to just pay tribute to the level of advice we received and the level of consideration that were given to the pertinent parts of this bill. I think, Mr. Speaker, as a member of that committee, that we can honestly say the work was earnestly done. was very well considered, and in fact it will be a very satisfactory bill, but like all bills of this nature, it is part of a developing journey as the requirements of members of Parliament in fulfilling their function, in meeting the requirements of Parliament, will change. They change with technology, they change with communication systems, and they change with the state that the country is in at any particular time. It's interesting to read the history of Parliament, and it's a rich history, but of course they used to travel here by train and stay here for a number of months, and the conditions do have to change. Sail there, yes, indeed. And so I think what we have is a very good process. There is a large amount of independence in setting the salary. It's not at the behest of parliamentarians anymore, and the travel has been considered, that it's something that needs to be with the Speaker, and the committee recommended that change to the bill. The clerk made the recommendation because travel by MPs is critical to effective functioning of the House and is of fundamental democratic importance. Those of us from large electorates, and I can claim to live in one of the largest, I think, and I notice that the costs of travel are reflected by my colleagues in other parties who come from the same area. It's just a matter of fact that it is expensive to travel within an electorate as well as from it to here. Mr. Speaker, I leave the committee's stage at this second reading very comfortable that full consideration has been given to the aspects of this bill that were controversial, that the outcome will be satisfactory, and I commend this bill to the House.
Speaker.
I call the Honourable Ruth Dyson.